Good afternoon. Listen, so I was sitting here thinking about the events of from a couple of days ago of the slaughtering of these innocent children in Uvalde, Texas, a couple of days ago, and um, I've just been thinking about, well, obviously a lot of things, thinking about uh, the horrendous reality of a parent sending their child to school alive and then picking their child up. Or actually, you can't pick your child up because one of the unfortunate, I say it's unfortunate, one of the things, one of the realities of life is this is your child or your loved one. And you can touch them, see them, talk to them, do whatever you want as long as they're alive. But when they die, it's like the officials are in control. You can't see your child. You can't just go pick your child up and take them home. You can't even go to the hospital and just go in the back and see your child, right? Um, so I didn't think about that before, but even the pressure of that. But I wanted to do this live because I haven't said much on this topic because, as with everyone else, it's so heart wrenching, right? And what a lot of people don't know is that the reason that I do marriage counseling is actually for children. It is so that I can help husbands and wives create healthy, safe environments to raise their children, to put them on the thrive train so that their lives can be whole and healthy. I don't see children. Well, I don't see school age children. The children I see are between the ages of 21 and the oldest person I had was like 85, but I'll do older. But I don't see little children, but it's for little children. And the reason I named this parents just don't understand is because oftentimes parents do not understand the the seriousness and the impact that their parenting has on their child. And too often we think that's their personality. They were born that way. When people call me, ask me, "Hey, I want you to see my son or my daughter." Usually, my son. Want to get my son in therapy. How old is he? Well, he's 6. I say, your son does not need therapy. Your son does. He hasn't been on the planet long enough to have issues. All of his major issues are connected to his parents. His parents need therapy to know how to love and protect him better. 6-year-old does not need therapy. But now that's my opinion. That's what I believe. I know other folk believe different. Uh, but when your child is 18, like this kid who killed these children, he didn't show up 18. He wasn't born 18. He wasn't born whatever his state was that day. That's he used to be 1 and 2 and 3. Now, I haven't honest, so let me just tell you this. I haven't read a whole lot of stuff on the story because it's triggering for me. I haven't, so I don't know anything about the shooter, anything about his background, his life, or whatever. So if he has like, autism or something like, I don't know about it. Okay, so I'm addressing this as if he has nothing like that, because even if he does, what I'm going to say can apply to other situations, like the kid, the guy, the man, whatever you want to call him, the monster uh, that killed the people in Buffalo. This kid, when he was younger, his parents didn't understand what he needed to get to a place of wholeness and healthiness at the age of 18. Now, why do I say that? Like, you don't know what them folk did. You wasn't with them when he was younger, and you don't know. You're right. I'm speaking in generalities. That's true. However, in the work that I do and what I know is we human beings don't show up evil. Like Damien, That's a movie. N- Children are not born evil. Children are not born with the devil, possessed by the devil. Okay? They come here as blank slates. If children come here as blank slates, by the time they get to 18 or even 13, 12, whatever, whatever you see, they by and large learned it once they got here. There are some things that are, nature, personality traits that are nature. But when it comes to harming people, you learn that at that level. That's just what I believe. And when I say learned it, you either learned it by what you saw, you learned it by uh, how you were treated, or you learned it by default by not being taught the right thing. But let me try to stick to, because I don't have notes for this. I just wanted to get on here and talk about this because I want to talk about it. But let me stick to the topic of parents just don't understand and what I mean by that. And so I want to talk directly to parents, okay? Particularly of parents of children who are hasn't graduated high school yet. So anywhere from ages 0 to 18, I'm talking to you. Really 17, 18 too, right? Talking to your parents. The thing that has been true since we've been on the planet, and when I say we, I'm talking about human beings. The thing that has been true since we've been here is the reality that human beings thrive on love. Always have, always will, period. But what is also true is that when human beings are love deficient, we will, without fail, malfunction. You will malfunction when there's a love deficit. Most of the children raised in America, I would say the world, but let me just stick to America. Most of the children, even in good homes, even in the folk who, you guys out there who are angry like me, hurt like me about what has happened, those of you who call yourselves good parents, when you do not know all of what it takes to fill your child up, they become love deficient, right? Love deficiency is not just about abuse. It's not just about um, obvious mistreatment. I grew up, I was not obviously, in my mind, I was not obviously mistreated. I was not obviously abused. But there's a big, 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 big area that causes most of the dysfunction in humanity that we don't really pay attention to. Not abuse, right? Not trauma, but neglect, emotional neglect. You can love your child, want what's best for them, but you yourself not be equipped to get them the love that they need so that they can build themselves a thriving life. So the thing that I want to do, uh, the now this is the gospel according to Clifton. Shout out to Dr. Michael P. Williams. I got that from him, and I've been using it ever since. This is the gospel according to Clifton. The issue, the core issue, is not the government. The core issue for black folk, the black folk listening, is not the white man. The core issue is not legislation. Now, watch this. Those things absolutely can help. Uh, I'm not political where I know all the ins and outs of politics, but what I hear is that they could do something about the gun laws or whatever, but they won't because of power and money and that whole thing. I get that's horrible, right? But at the core, the government is not the issue. At the core, and I'm gonna do a study on this to do a deeper dive than what I'm doing here, because like a conspiracy theory thing, and like you connect all the dots. I believe that can easily be done here, but I haven't done that. So I'm just give you what I got. But the issue is the plan of the enemy. Don't turn it off. I'm not, this ain't about uh, 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 what's the word that they use? I'm not trying to be super spiritual, right? I'm not trying to be um, otherworldly, too otherworldly. But the reality is, there is an enemy of humanity that is not seen with the naked eye, and the his attack is the family, mainly marriage. The first institution God created was marriage. It wasn't the church, it wasn't the school, it was marriage. Marriage is supposed to be the foundation of life on the planet. Marriage is supposed to be the foundation. But when I say marriage, I'm not saying just people being married. I'm not just talking about matrimony. I'm talking about marriage the way God designed it, right? But I'm not going to deal with that. But marriage is supposed to be the foundation of of society. When marriages start to dwindle, the family gets weaker. Where do we human beings come from? Families. Where do we grow up? Families. Where do we learn how to do life on the planet? Families. So then, if the family is weakened, how's the child going to be strong? And then, as life keeps going on, not only is the family weakened, the more we go, family is destroyed. Now you got a plethora of single parent households raising children when they themselves are a child. So they haven't finished raising themselves because they had parents who couldn't raise them, who was raised by parents who couldn't raise them. So now it's a generational thing. And then now, when you encounter someone who is a criminal or whatever, you just deal with them. And yeah, we got to deal with them, but not recognizing there's a long lineage of dysfunction that started somewhere with a broken marriage. Healthy marriages create healthy families. Healthy families create healthy children. Healthy children create a healthy society. A healthy society then pours back into healthy marriages, and it kind of goes like in a like a revolving door, like in a cycle. But that's not what happens. See, the folk who I'm anti-God, and all that spiritual foolishness, and uh, let's make sure we separate church and state, and I'm actually for that. However, these arguments that I'm about to make now have been made before, and they've been made better than me. So I'm just repeating what I've heard. It's not my point. I'm just throwing this in to make this point. When they took prayer out the schools, that wasn't the issue, but that, I believe, was an indication of what had already happened in the family. Because the truth is, if we can't pray in school, that's not that big of a deal, because they should be praying at home. But they're not praying at home. So when you take it out the school, well, yeah. And you say, well, that's not that big of a deal. Who were they praying to? These children today, outside of folk who have a strong um, Christian or religious background, by and large, grow up not knowing anything about God. That is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because the creator of humanity designed us a certain way. And just like I said, we'll malfunction when we're love deficient. I believe also that we humans have a built-in malfunction mechanism that activates when you try to do life without God. God and love, I see one and the same. And when you're deficient in that, man, you're gonna struggle. So struggling there, then you got these parents, you got children raising children who they haven't finished growing up themselves. And so we just now we create a generation after generation of broken children, low self-esteem. I don't know who I am. So here's something that you may not know. You've heard the term people pleasing. When you see a child who is people pleasing, they are in major trouble. You got to address that. That's the roots of this stuff that happened in Uvalde and happened in Buffalo. I'm telling you what I know. Okay. Uh, these people are not good with themselves, but they're not good with themselves because they were not good with their parents. The way that you learn to love you is by how you are loved. And the problem is, what I was alluding to earlier, even good parents, because you're imperfect, you're going to make some mistakes in how you parent. And then when you do that, because the child is also imperfect and the child is egocentric, they think that everything is about them. So I caused this. So now they have these beliefs about themselves and they hold on to them. And then that becomes the script by which they run their lives. And if I believe my life isn't worth anything, then yours sure isn't. If I believe my life isn't worth anything, but I could do something, even if it's really, really evil, to get the recognition that I crave for as a human being, well, then I'm going to do that. So that's why I say the answer, not just better parenting, more informed, more connected, and more hands-on parenting. But so I do think that's the answer. But I think like that answer with this, let's say this is an additive. Parenting in marriage makes it even better. But as a parent, whether you have a spouse or not, you have to commit yourself to raising this child in a way that is emotionally healthy. Stop trying to raise your children to go to college. Stop trying to raise your children to make good grades. Stop trying to raise your children to have, good manners in the sense of that's what I'm harping on. Raise your children to know how to do life on the planet. And what do we do from the cradle to the grave? Relationships. Relationships is what we do from the cradle to the grave for human beings. Guess what we suck at most? Relationships. That's not an accident. And if you don't wise up and recognize there is an actual enemy that is beyond what we can see, you'll be fighting the government. You'll be fighting all these things. Watch this. Let the government impose laws and say, nobody under 50 can buy an assault rifle. Nobody under 40 can buy a new handgun. Let's just make all the gun laws we want. What do you think that's going to stop? It's going to slow it down. But here's the problem. The problem is not guns. I know a lot of y'all just checked out. A lot of you disagree with me. I got a gun in my room, in my bedroom. It's there every night. It's right on the side of my bed. It's never harmed me. That ain't the first one I had. I got another. I got a 45 in my nightstand. It's never done anything to me. Never. It ain't the gun. It's the mind that's controlling the gun. That's the danger. Because when the police show up, they got guns too. So it ain't about taking away the guns. And the point that I'm making is, yeah, we do need better gun laws, but that ain't the answer. The answer is getting to these criminals before they have criminal minds, because they're not born that way. They're not born criminals. They're not born hating. You're not born wanting to. You're not. You're not born wanting to be. Well, you're born wanting to be the center of attention, actually. Oh, that's good. Let's go that route. You're born. You're born as an immature child, the center of the world. That's how your brain processes. And so, yes, all of us want that. But that's when good parenting is supposed to come in to help you navigate life so that you know when to focus on me, and then you know when to focus on we, and you know when to focus on them. The answer is not the government. I really want to challenge you parents to learn better parenting. Not, let me not say that because I don't want to minimize. It's not about learning better parenting skills, actually. Yeah, that's a start, but it's deeper than that. The first thing is you Doing, first of all, okay, the first thing, you need to embrace humility. Why? Because humility will tell you, I don't know everything. Humility will tell you, um, I don't really agree with this guy is saying, but I don't know. Let me see. Right? So that you can at least explore the possibility. After that, do the work to heal your childhood stuff, to heal your limiting and negative beliefs. Because the problem is uh, we have too many emotionally immature adults raising children. So it's like children raising children. You haven't finished fully growing up, even though you're 35. But now you have a child who you're trying to raise, but you don't know how to get your needs met. And so you put your needs on them. This is just one example. You put your needs on them. And so now they're carrying your needs. They don't even know it because they're a child and they think they're supposed to do that. And so all of these interactions and things have them confused in their mind about who they are. So that when they make it up, when they make up the conclusion that I'm not good enough, most times you don't even know that because you're still trapped in your stuff, right? So life goes on. They look normal. They haven't killed nobody. They don't have behavior issues or whatever. But then they hit middle school and they talking about suicide. Why? That didn't start in middle school. That started in those first 8 years of life. And again, that's just an example of how these things evolve. But ultimately, I want you parents to check on yourself, heal the things in you that need to heal or mature, and then shift your parenting from trying to raise them to be successful. Like, don't make that your mindset. Your mindset should be raising your children to do love and life very well. If you hear me, if you succeed, if you're successful at human relationships, you will be successful in life. If you know how to do relationships, money will not be an issue for you. You don't have to raise your children to make great grades. You don't have to raise your children because a lot of times those are the things that we injure them with, grades and school. And we're harping on all of these performance based things. Nobody's talking about their character. Nobody's helping them know how to uh, give and receive love. Nobody's teaching them how to forgive. We got to do something. And I know we keep saying that. We're not. Can I just be honest? We're not. I'm doing this video, but nothing gonna change. And that's the unfortunate part. But I'm gonna say it anyway. But yeah, nothing's gonna change. It may be three of y'all, three folk who see this video are gonna take what I say serious, look at their parenting, and say, "Man, am I setting my child up for failure?" See, don't. Let me say this: don't think that I'm trying to tell you to be a better parent so your child doesn't become a mass murderer. I mean, yeah, that's implied. But beyond that, so mass murder ain't the only thing that we're trying to prevent. We're trying to prevent my office from staying full. I'm like, full. I think I'm up to 3 to 4 weeks out now. I'm usually 10 days, 2 weeks. I'm because the folk that's coming to see me, childhood issues. Now, most of them don't know that. But as we start doing work and I see how they're interacting with their spouse, childhood stuff. I'm telling you, don't think that just because your childhood was not traumatic, that you don't have things that are hindering you that you brought with you before you met your partner, even if y'all got married at 18 and now y'all been married 25 years. But I forgot the other point that I was making. So let me just say, I was saying, yeah, only a few of you gonna take me serious and look at your parenting and say, what can I do different to make sure that my child doesn't end up on Mr. Brantley's couch or somebody's couch or in an abusive relationship or abusing someone or taking their lives or taking someone else's life or taking what they want instead of asking for their needs to be met. I know I keep saying I'm gonna do this parenting series. Only reason I haven't done it is because it's so much to put together, because it's so much I want to say, and then I end up shooting myself in the foot and not sharing it all. And so I apologize for that. I am going to do it. Plates full right now. I don't know when, but you parents, the ones you parents with good hearts, there's some things that your children need from you that you are not aware that they need. Me, when I was a single parent of three, I love my children like crazy. I feel like I was a really good parent relative to how I was raised, right? But once I became a therapist, once I became wiser, what I realized is there's so much I just did not know. So much I did not know. I had no idea that children in those very early years needed as much time and attention as they needed. And the thing is, if you miss it, that is a critical part of their development. And on this planet, there are no rewind buttons. You cannot go back. All you can do is try to patch and fix moving forward, but we cannot rewind. And so for you parents who are not new parents, like your child is older than 6 months, your child is older than 4, you still can do something. Show more love. Now, when I say love, I don't mean roses and flowers all the time. You always buying them balloons and taking them to play with bubbles. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying love them with discipline, not trying to mix love and punishment, because punishment and discipline are not the same things. Punishment is, I'm going to hurt you because you did something I didn't want you to do. That's prison, right? Our prison system is supposed to be a reforming thing, but it's not. It's just punishment. Discipline, on the other hand, may or may not include pain, but the purpose of discipline is to show you where you went wrong, and this and part is important, and to help you get right. Punishment don't care nothing about you being right. Punishment just punishes you for being wrong. And too many parents raise their children in punishment. So the love that you have for them, even though you think you're loving them, and I'm beating you so the police won't. I promise you the love is not coming across. It ain't. Now there's some you adults, particularly black folk, who went through childhood and you were getting beaten, whipped, or whatever, and now you look back and say, yeah, but that saved my life. It did not. It didn't save your life. Your life would have been saved if that wouldn't have happened. That kept me out of jail. How do you know? You may not have went to jail anyway. Are you saying that the only way you stayed out of jail is because you got beatings? Yeah, that don't make sense. That's not true. It's not true. Right? And I'm not going down the rabbit hole of, hole of whether or not you should spank your kids or not. Just care more. Show more care. Stop being so parents are selfish. And I get why, because you're still dealing with your own childhood stuff and your immaturity. But when you have a child, especially again in those early years, almost, not completely, but you almost, well, I'll say it'll feel like you have to lose yourself in order to get them what they need. It's not actually accurate, but that's what it can feel like when you're giving because your patience has to increase, because they just got to the planet. They don't know you're not supposed to pass gas in public. They don't know you're not supposed to run in the street. They don't know, even when you say don't do that and you've told them that 20 times, they ain't got it. How you know? Because they're still doing what they think they should be doing. And if you're not patient as a parent, next thing you know, you're an abuser. Because I told you, I'm tired of telling you, get your little nappy head blank blank over here. How you think they feel when you say that? You think that builds them up? Oh, it ain't nothing. It's just, they know I'm playing. I was telling somebody yesterday about, the reason I do therapy and it's for children and how difficult it is sometimes to be out in public, seeing parents disrespecting and mistreating their child. I don't care what the child did. They don't deserve what you're giving them there. And no, you're not going to convince me that this 5-year-old deserves all of that yelling or whatever that you're giving them. I don't care if they knocked everything down in Walmart. Are you saying that your embarrassment at Walmart is worth the shame that you just gave them to carry for the rest of their life? Oh, you're being dramatic. I promise you I'm not. I see it in my office every day. Every day. Well, the days that I work. I don't work on Fridays and Saturdays or Sundays. But the other 4 days, if parents would make up their mind, if married folk, no, I'm going to go with parents. If parents would make up their minds, I'm going to do better, things would change. But it's not going to happen. But hey, I'm going to keep standing on the rooftop. The Bible says, if the watchman stands on the watchtower and he see the enemy coming and does not warn you, then the blood is on him. But if the watchman stands on the watchtower, sees the enemy coming, and he warns you, but you don't move, the blood is on you. So I'm just sounding the alarm. That's it. Just sounding the alarm. Okay. All right. Well, if you got comments, feedback, complaints, disagreements, they're all welcome. If you got answers that I don't know about, do share. But ultimately, parents, it has to start with the parents. It has to start with the parents. That'd be another rabbit hole if I start that, but it has to be the parents. Okay. And I want you guys, I want us to be okay. These children did not deserve, obviously, what they got. I just heard somebody out there somewhere ask this, so I'm gonna answer it. I hope this don't make another 20 minutes. But where was God when this was going on? Why would he allow these children to be killed? The same reason he allowed you to cheat on your husband or your wife. Because God has given us free will and man is evil. Evil is on the planet, put it that way. God moves how he moves. I don't have an answer for that. And I don't really need one. I don't need an answer. God, why didn't you? Because if I do that, then he has to tell me all the times throughout my 50 years when he allowed whatever with me, or when I messed up, he didn't intervene and say, no, you can't do that. See, we want God to intervene when it's in our benefit, but not when we're in error. When we are in error, no, I want to do this. So if God, you're on your way to go cheat, God makes your car shut down, right? You're on your way to go, you're on your way to go take a test to get in school. And that's not what God wants for you. So what he does, he makes you blind. He won't let you take the test, right? Or he keeps making the paper disappear, so you keep getting all the answers wrong. I don't know, but you wouldn't want that. But you want him to intervene when you want him to intervene. Now, I ain't gonna lie, yeah. Because I'm a limited human being, I wish God would do this and do that or whatever. But I also understand, just like my 7-year-old grandson doesn't understand half the stuff I know, because I've been on the planet way longer than him. And so there's certain ways that I move that I know if he saw me or if I tried to explain it to him, it would go so far over his head, it wouldn't even make sense. In his world, that don't make no kind of sense at all. How much more is it? How much more is the gap between me and God? My understanding and God's movement, man, I'm just not getting into that. And if that's where you stand, have at it. Have at it. I'm not going there, but um, we got to do something. We got to do something, right? All right. You guys try to have a good day, and please do pray for those families in Uvalde and in Buffalo, and pray for our country. Okay.